The private jet sat gleaming beneath the bright afternoon sky while airport workers hurried across the runway, unaware that the next few minutes would change several lives forever. Standing at the bottom of the aircraft stairs, one wealthy passenger smiled with complete confidence as she casually dismissed every warning being given to her. She believed money could erase every rule, every safety concern, and every consequence. With cameras rolling and assistants watching, she folded her sunglasses, looked directly at the quiet airport operations officer blocking the flight, and smirked as she declared that the plane should take off immediately because she would simply pay whatever fine came later. Around her, people expected the exhausted single father standing in the reflective safety vest to step aside like everyone else always had. Instead, they watched him calmly reach for his radio, make one phone call, and unknowingly begin the process that would permanently end one of the most powerful businesswoman's flying privileges. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves second chances and that doing the right thing matters more than power or money, please like this video, leave a comment, share this story with someone who needs to hear it, and subscribe to Single Dad Empire. Your support helps us continue bringing emotional stories that inspire millions around the world. The airport operations officer was named Nolan Mercer, a 42-year-old single father whose life looked ordinary to everyone passing through the terminal. Every morning before sunrise, Nolan prepared breakfast for his 10-year-old daughter, Maris, packed her school lunch, braided her long chestnut hair after patiently learning how from online videos, and then drove her to school before reporting for duty at one of the busiest regional airports in the country. Most travelers never noticed the people wearing reflective safety jackets who inspected runways, checked aircraft documentation, and quietly prevented disasters before anyone even realized danger existed. Nolan preferred it that way. Recognition never interested him. Going home safely to his daughter every evening was the only reward he ever wanted. 5 years earlier, Nolan's entire world had collapsed when his wife passed away unexpectedly after a sudden illness. Overnight, he found himself raising Maris alone while carrying grief he never allowed anyone else to see. Bills became overwhelming, sleep became a luxury, and loneliness became his constant companion. Yet every morning, when Maris smiled before school and thanked him for always being there, Nolan remembered exactly why giving up had never been an option. His work demanded absolute honesty. One overlooked inspection could place hundreds of innocent lives in danger. Every signature he placed on an aircraft clearance represented trust, responsibility, and the promise that every passenger deserved to return home safely. That responsibility would soon be tested more than ever before. The private aircraft waiting near the executive terminal belonged to Celeste Ashford, a billionaire technology executive celebrated by magazines for her business success and luxurious lifestyle. She traveled constantly, owned several companies, and surrounded herself with assistants who rarely questioned her decisions. Years of unlimited wealth had quietly convinced Celeste that inconvenience was something reserved for ordinary people. Rules became suggestions. Delays became personal insults. Patience slowly disappeared from her character. That afternoon, Celeste was already running behind schedule for an important investors' conference several states away. Television interviews had been arranged. Business partners were waiting. Every passing minute increased her frustration. Unfortunately for her, Nolan's inspection had revealed a serious maintenance discrepancy involving the aircraft's required documentation. While the jet itself appeared beautiful and expensive, regulations required complete verification before departure. Without proper clearance, the aircraft simply could not legally or safely leave the ground. To Nolan, the decision was simple. The flight had to wait. To Celeste, it felt unacceptable. She stepped confidently toward Nolan wearing an elegant white business suit, expensive sunglasses, and an expression that suggested she had never heard the word "no" without expecting it to change. Her assistants quietly stood behind her. The pilots remained respectfully silent. Ground crew members exchanged nervous glances. Everyone understood what was happening. Power was attempting to overpower responsibility. Nolan respectfully explained the situation several times. His voice never became louder. His words remained professional, calm, and clear. The missing documentation was not a personal opinion. It was a legal requirement protecting every soul aboard the aircraft. Celeste listened impatiently before dismissing every explanation with visible annoyance. She insisted the paperwork could be fixed after landing. She claimed delays cost her company millions. She reminded Nolan that she employed thousands of people. Then came the sentence that froze everyone nearby. With a confident smile, she simply declared that the aircraft should depart immediately because she would gladly pay whatever penalty followed. Several employees lowered their eyes. Many had witnessed similar situations before. Usually someone higher up made exceptions for influential passengers. Usually rules bent beneath wealth. Usually. Nolan quietly looked toward the aircraft, then back toward the runway stretching beneath the bright blue afternoon sky. He thought about the hundreds of families waiting for loved ones to return home every day. He remembered comforting Maris after nightmares about losing her remaining parent. He remembered promising his daughter that integrity mattered even when nobody applauded it. Without changing his calm expression, Nolan lifted his radio and contacted Airport Command. His request was simple. Suspend the aircraft's departure authorization immediately. Within minutes, airport security, aviation inspectors, and regulatory supervisors arrived at the executive terminal. The atmosphere changed instantly. Celeste's smile slowly disappeared. Instead of forcing the flight forward, the inspection expanded. Additional records were reviewed. Maintenance history was examined carefully. Pilot documentation was rechecked. Fuel records were verified. What initially appeared to be one missing document unexpectedly revealed several additional compliance concerns that had gone unnoticed because previous inspections had been rushed under pressure from influential schedules. The aircraft was officially grounded. Not for hours. For an indefinite period. Television crews covering unrelated airport events noticed the unusual activity near the private terminal. News spread rapidly online. Speculation filled social media. Some people criticized Nolan for delaying an important executive. Others praised him for refusing to compromise safety. Meanwhile, Nolan quietly returned to completing routine inspections across the airport as though nothing extraordinary had happened. He never sought interviews. He never celebrated. He simply continued doing his job. Later that evening, while helping Maris finish her science homework at the kitchen table, Nolan received an unexpected phone call from airport headquarters. Federal aviation investigators wanted to meet him the following morning. Not because he had done something wrong. Because they believed he had prevented something much larger. The investigation uncovered a troubling pattern. For years, Celeste's flight department had repeatedly pressured personnel to accelerate departures whenever schedules became inconvenient. Most incidents resulted only in minor procedural shortcuts that fortunately caused no accidents. However, investigators concluded the culture surrounding those operations encouraged ignoring important safety responsibilities whenever money or prestige entered the equation. That culture finally ended. Celeste's corporate aviation authorization faced immediate suspension pending extensive review. Pilots underwent additional evaluations. Operational procedures were completely rewritten. Several executives responsible for encouraging shortcuts quietly resigned. The consequences reached far beyond a single delayed flight. One ordinary airport employee had forced an entire organization to rediscover accountability. Reporters eventually learned Nolan's story. They expected dramatic interviews filled with anger toward wealthy passengers. Instead, Nolan calmly explained that he never opposed successful people. He opposed unnecessary risk. He believed every passenger, whether billionaire or first-time traveler, deserved identical protection beneath the law. His humility touched millions. Parents especially connected with his story. They saw a father choosing integrity over intimidation because he wanted every family to experience another safe reunion. Unexpectedly, one person watched every interview in complete silence. Celeste. For days she felt embarrassed. Not because she had lost temporary flying privileges. Because she finally saw herself through the eyes of ordinary people. She watched recordings of her own impatience. She heard the arrogance hidden inside words she barely remembered saying. For years success had surrounded her with people afraid to disagree. Nolan had become the first person willing to protect her from her own pride. Several weeks later, after completing every required review and implementing major safety reforms throughout her aviation department, Celeste requested a private meeting. No cameras attended. No reporters waited outside. No lawyers prepared statements. Only two people sat across a simple conference table overlooking the airport where everything had changed. Celeste sincerely admitted that wealth had slowly convinced her consequences belonged only to others. She apologized not because public pressure demanded it, but because personal reflection had transformed her understanding. Nolan accepted quietly. Holding on to resentment, he believed, never helped anyone become better. Before leaving, Celeste asked one unexpected question. She wanted to know why Nolan had remained so calm while everyone expected him to surrender. Nolan smiled gently. He explained that every morning before work his daughter hugged him goodbye. Every evening she waited for him to come home. Somewhere on every airplane another child waited exactly the same way. No amount of money could replace one missing parent. Those words stayed with Celeste forever. Months passed. Her company became known not for demanding exceptions but for exceeding aviation safety standards nationwide. Employees reported feeling respected rather than pressured. Pilots openly discussed concerns without fearing retaliation. Maintenance teams finally received adequate time to perform every inspection correctly. The organization became stronger because one man refused to compromise. Nolan's own life slowly improved as well. His dedication earned a promotion overseeing regional safety operations. The additional income allowed him to spend more weekends with Maris instead of working overtime. They visited museums, parks, baseball games, and quiet lakes where laughter gradually replaced years of sadness. One sunny Saturday, Maris proudly told her father that her school teacher had asked students to describe their heroes. Many children chose athletes or movie stars. She chose her dad. Not because he was famous. Not because he stopped an airplane. Because he always kept people safe, even when it was difficult. Nolan quietly wiped away tears before smiling at his daughter. In that simple moment, every sleepless night, every sacrifice, and every difficult decision suddenly felt worthwhile. True heroes rarely wear capes. Sometimes they wear reflective safety vests. Sometimes they carry lunchboxes instead of trophies. Sometimes they quietly protect strangers who never learn their names. Their greatest victories happen when nothing tragic occurs because they refuse to ignore responsibility. And perhaps the greatest lesson of all was this: real leadership isn't measured by how many people obey you, but by how faithfully you protect those who place their trust in you. If this story touched your heart, please support Single Dad Empire by liking this video, sharing it with your family and friends, subscribing to the channel, and leaving a heartfelt comment. Every interaction helps inspiring stories like this reach people who need hope today. Speech balloon special request, comment below: integrity always takes off higher than pride. As another bright afternoon settled over the airport, Nolan watched aircraft rise safely into the clear blue sky, each one carrying dreams, reunions, and families toward new destinations. He never needed applause from the passengers looking through those tiny windows. Knowing they would arrive home safely was enough. While some people believed money could buy permission to ignore responsibility, one devoted single father quietly proved that integrity will always soar higher than power, because the greatest privilege anyone can earn is the trust of those whose lives rest in their hands.